You have to have lunatic levels of self-belief to do what I've tried to do. Of course you do. I remember thinking in 06-07, I may well jack this in. I cannot see the point of this.
Our interests are best served by not being a member of this club. Most people in the UK thought we joined a free trade area, but this crisis demonstrates it is anything but that. The domestic leader of the party has got to plan, organise, lead and run that domestic general election campaign, and I'm not going to take that burden on because, frankly, it's too much. And anyway, I'm going to be busy in Buckingham taking on John Bercow. Things went horrendously wrong. The banner got twisted around the tail of the aeroplane, and we inevitably were going to crash. And it's strange. Initially, you're filled with fear, and as the ground rushes up, a sort of sense of resignation, kind of a feeling of, well, if this is it, let's hope it's all over quickly.
Craig McKinley is duly elected as Member of Parliament for South Thanet constituency.
Success and failure in life is relative, and I'm still here alive and kicking. But I'm a man of my word. I don't break my word, so I should be writing to the UKIP National Executive in a few minutes, saying that I am standing down as leader of UKIP.
And I will go to Parliament and propose that the British people decide our future in Europe through an in-out referendum on Thursday, the 23rd of June.
It was a blessing I'd not been elected, because if I'd been elected, it would have stopped me doing what I then decided to do. And within 3 days of the election, my mind was made up that the referendum actually was going to happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, dare to dream that the dawn is breaking on an independent, united kingdom. During the referendum campaign, I said, I want my country back. What I'm saying today is I want my life back. And it begins right now.
Despite all odds, despite horrible name-calling, despite so many obstacles, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nigel Farage.
Speech, lots of lovely latex balloons. Nigel was happy. We went for a drink and a pizza.
Very late.
And it was a late night, so about 4 o'clock in the morning. We walked into the bar, and lo and behold, there was some delegation from Mississippi who absolutely loved this man. The assistant to the governor, Phil Bryant of Mississippi, he said, look, if the governor invited you to Mississippi, would you come? Nigel goes, yeah, of course, but, you know, secretly thinking, well, this is never going to happen.
No, normally, you know, conversations at 5 o'clock in the morning don't lead to very much, you know.
And then they dropped the bombshell. Said, Nigel, we've got this fundraiser. Would you speak at the fundraiser? And Mr. Trump is likely to speak after you. We're in one side of the stage, Trump is at the other, and Nigel goes on and absolutely nails it. 1,000 people stood up, gave him a standing ovation. Trump's watching. And at this stage, then he goes and Trump speaks to Governor Bryant and said, look, I've got a rally in half an hour. Would you like to come as our guest?
It was 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah, as our guests. Yeah. So we thought, well, yes, absolutely.
And this guy, come
But
here.
before that, they were going to do a little meet and greet with some photographs. When Trump comes in, he says, where's Nigel, where's Nigel?
What a great what a job he's done. Now, if I don't get there, he's still going to be number one. If I get there, I may supersede him.
I think you will. I think you deserve it.
So we'll see in a couple of seconds. Thank you. What a great honor. It's an amazing thing that happened in Europe. And as you know, I predicted that was going to happen. And everybody said Trump predicted it. What a ridiculous prediction. Then when I was right, they said, oh, Trump really didn't predict it. You were right. You know the old story, right? So, but that was an amazing job. And I saw yesterday where the head of the EU is now saying that you're going to take down all borders. Borders are obsolete. And that's going to be the end of the EU, because I'll tell you what, I don't think anybody will do that. What they've done over there is incredible. What you've done is amazing. You were so far thinking. And now people are starting to say, gee, that was a great vote. You know, right after the vote, they were saying, oh, well, maybe we should redo it. This is some kind of an upset. People are starting to say you're very smart, especially with what's happening over there. So congratulations. A great honor, man.
Completely surreal.
Meanwhile, the Walmart act had been bumped.
Yeah, so I
Who was that?
Who was this? We're standing behind stage when one of Trump's aides comes up to us and said, look, the script's slightly changed, the choreography's slightly changed.
Donald's going to introduce you. And then Trump comes over. He goes, right, Nigel, this is my speech. When I get to this bit, you come up on the stage and do your stuff and then hand back to me. I said, so what, you're the warm-up act?
We walked behind Trump and into the back of the stage. And, you know, Nigel's thinking, what on earth am I going to say? What on earth am I going to say? I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you're doing this. He could not believe it, genuinely.
I couldn't believe it.
Despite so many obstacles, ladies and gentlemen,
Banks and I chuckling to ourselves, thinking, we can't believe it. And so you came up with quite a good line.
Having criticised Obama, you couldn't, so heavily for telling us what we should do.
You couldn't really step in.
I didn't feel I could say what they should do, but I could say, it seemed to me, what they shouldn't do, namely to vote for Hillary. And I did. I was very pleased with that line.
I come to you from the United Kingdom with a message of hope and a message of optimism. It's a message that says, if the little people, if the real people, if the ordinary decent people are prepared to stand up and fight for what they believe in, we can overcome the big banks.
So we go out after it's all finished and all the rest of it. And the three of us literally were sitting there having a cigarette.
We were dumbstruck.
Out comes Donald and starts having a chat with us. Nigel, thank you, blah, blah, blah. So
he said some quite funny stuff, actually.
He did.
Did Brexit win the election for Trump, then, is what you're suggesting?
Well,
he thinks
or did Nigel Farage do it, or both?
Well, he thinks so.
He thinks so. But then what
happens?
happens?
Yeah.
I think the Trump team do not think they would have won the election without Brexit. In fact, I think they're convinced.
The most surreal moment for me was about 4 or 5 weeks later. We were just about to go out to the second debate.
It's like cardboard cutout.
And there's a cardboard cutout of Nigel, and we brought it on stage. Trump brought cardboard cutout of Nigel Farage on stage.
One of horrendous thoughts.
Well, he was doing 4 or 5 rallies a day, Trump was.
And he couldn't
he was using Brexit constantly. We get the call.
It's true, isn't it?
Can you make sure you're in New York? And
On which day?
This is 3 days after the election. So we were summoned to Trump Tower, where Nigel was going to meet with Steve Bannon.
We were lucky about policemen, weren't we?
Lucky,
Yes. Well, actually, when we arrived...
Nigel was much more on it than I was.
I was quite scared.
We were going through
I was quite
this
scared.
crowd.
Well, the protesters were
There was a
building.
protester building.
On the Saturday morning?
Yeah.
We had to walk through it. We went upstairs and you had a meeting with Mr. Bannon for a long time.
I had a long meeting with Steve Bannon.
We were talking to some of the people
who I've got great respect for.
talking about, which was great. And then as we were leaving, we hadn't seen Kellyanne Conway.
But by that stage, the demonstrators surrounded Trump Tower, and the Secret Services blocked the place down. So we were trapped inside.
We were outside having a cigarette.
On floor 21.
On a balcony?
Yeah, the Secret Service got a bit upset. They thought we were sniper targets.
Come in, sir. He says, hang on, I just forgot to... No, sir, you need to get in now. No, sir, you need to get in now. You're a target. But then we bumped into Kellyanne Conway, and she said, let's go and see the man himself.
So is it 4 floors?
We had to change lift twice. It's right at the top, isn't it?
Right, you're right. We arrived... This huge, amazing door, which you've seen, it opens...
Which everyone says is the lift door, but it's actually just the door to his apartment.
It's his front door.
Yeah. It opens the door, and there he goes, there you are! Grabs Nigel.
There you are, Nigel. Come here, come here.
Yeah, however, it was a private meeting, but it was great to see him. And terrific, really. I mean, he's a very indomitable, remarkable human being who has been through a shed load of abuse. So kind of we had that in common a bit. And you've got to say, for 70, he's remarkable. You know, doing 6 rallies a day at the end. And I know the energy you put into giving a speech. And he was doing 6 rallies a day of 20 to 30,000 people.
That's one of the things I saw straight away is your stamina is unbelievable. I mean, it is unbelievable, and Trump's the same. He's just like a dynamo that just doesn't know when to stop.
How did the photo happen?
So, you know...
we were about to leave, weren't we?
We're about to leave.
After an hour with him?
Yeah. And I piped up can I have some pictures? I asked Kellyanne first, the programme, and she said, yeah, absolutely. And then he was very gracious. He said, where do you want me? So the automatic backdrop was this incredible door. So we placed Nigel there and took some snap. And then he said, who else? Who else wants a photo?
There was a group photo with him in the middle and the five around.
Yeah.
And it could be the launch of a new boy band.
I certainly hope not.
Donald and the Deplorables. Anyway, it was an amazing experience.
It was.
I'd expected to be able to pop in and say hello and well done. I thought that would happen, but I didn't expect to get a proper chat. And we were very fortunate. I met several people who've known this guy for a long time. Now he comes from the world of business. He comes from a world where you rely on instinct. You think this bloke or this woman's a goodie, and then if that proves to be true, that then develops into a bond of trust, and it lasts your whole life. Yeah. And one of the reasons Downing Street cannot get this, and cannot get the subsequent tweet that he made about me, perhaps having a role in Washington or whatever it may be, is no one in Downing Street will understand what the word trust means.
No.
They're in politics. They don't trust anybody.
We have a first-rate ambassador in Washington doing a very good job of relating both with the present administration and the administration to be, and there is no vacancy for that position.
Their job is to shaft the next person to get further up the greasy pole. And if that sounds deeply cynical, well, let me say, after 25 years of doing this, I am. I mean, clearly, him tweeting that I should become the British ambassador was a bit cheeky. Yeah. Although I'm told that Kennedy did much the same thing.
Lord Harlech?
Back with Macmillan in 1960, whatever it was. Ormsby Gore, I think it was. I'll tell you what's interesting for me is that I've spent all these years trying to push over the establishment wall. And it's a journey upon which I've picked up lots of help and support. And in the end, with Brexit, we pushed it over. Now, we're struggling a bit with a few of the foundations still, but we'll clear those out in time. And what was so obvious after that trip to New York was maybe now I could play a constructive role in helping to build a wall.
For the first time.
And I would love to do it.
Yeah.
I would genuinely love to do it. I spent most of my business career working for or allied to American companies. I'm extremely fond of the USA. I think getting back a new, fresh relationship with the USA would be good for us in economic terms, good for us in security terms. And I'm fortunate enough, or lucky enough, or whatever it is, to have the support of the President-elect and to know many of his staff and team.
All of them,
I mean, it's a no-brainer, isn't it, that I actually could play some constructive role here. And yet, the stuck-up Tory party
won't accept it.
Honestly, if ever there was a case of putting the sort of really petty interest of the Tory tribe above the interest of what could perhaps be good for the nation, this is it. And I hope they change their minds.